My boyfriend's business went south, and he somehow left me on the hook for his debt to the creditor. To pay it off, I had to cook and clean for him. Later, I never expected the creditor would fall for me. He brought over the foot bath and asked, "Honey, is the water warm enough?" I couldn't believe it, but Tom Lee just bailed. I looked at the mess all over the shop and felt my heart sink. Back then, to show his commitment, he'd put the business license in my name. "Sweetheart, everything we own will be yours from now on. The house will be in your name, the car in your name. You can relax now, right?" My poor understanding of legal matters was going to kill me. I'd signed the lease agreement too. Thinking about the rent, I swallowed hard. Tom Lee had sworn he'd open a pet cafe. The renovation alone had wiped out 2 or 3 years of our savings. After it opened, business was terrible, and it just kept losing money. We were already 3 months behind on rent. I don't know what trick Tom Lee used, but the landlord hadn't pushed us for payment and gave us another 3 months. I was sent out of town for a business trip for half a month, and Tom Lee took that chance to run. "Well, look who's back." A cool voice cut through the air. I turned towards the sound and saw a tall figure with sharp features. The man leaned against the bar, a lazy pose, but his presence was overwhelming. This was our landlord, the local boss of this area. Jack Thompson. "Boss Goo, what brings you here?" I shuffled forward nervously. "Your boyfriend didn't tell you, did he? My company did the renovations for this shop. He still owes me a 300,000 tail payment. Add that to 6 months of back rent, and the total is 420,000. Looking at the contract he threw at me, I felt a wave of despair. "Boss Goo, I still have 6,000 in my account. It's the rent for the next quarter. Look, maybe you can just take this for now?" Jack Thompson raised an eyebrow, crossed his arms, and looked me up and down. Under his gaze, I felt completely exposed, like I wasn't wearing any clothes. "Boss Goo, it's a lawful society now," I said, trembling. "Tisk, I'm a law-abiding citizen, through and through." Jack Thompson watched me with amusement, his eyes full of mischief. "Amy Anderson, I'll give you a chance. I'll count to 10. If you can get away, we'll call the debt even. How about it?" "Huh?" I stared at Jack Thompson, dumbfounded. I really couldn't understand how a rich person's mind worked. 1. Jack Thompson licked his lips. I bolted out the door, running as fast as my legs could carry me. 2. Jack Thompson's voice was instantly left far behind. "Thank heavens, thank the earth, thank Dad for making me do sports. I was on the school track team from elementary school, and even the provincial team in high school. Later, training took up too much study time, so I quit. But the habit of loving to run stuck with me. I'm not bragging, but an average grown man really couldn't outrun me." Turning a corner, I darted into a small alleyway nearby. The shops lining the alley were under renovation, and there were a lot of things piled up near the entrance. Unless you looked closely, most people wouldn't notice this spot. I leaned over, hands on my knees, panting heavily, hoping Jack Thompson would keep his word. "TSK, pretty fast, huh?" I thought I was hallucinating. I stiffly raised my head and saw Jack Thompson leaning against the wall. "Know what I used to do? Retired military, special forces." Looking at Jack Thompson's wide grin, showing off his perfectly white teeth, my heart sank like a stone. "Heard you graduated from Harvard University? A top student, huh? How about you write up the contract then?" Sitting in the coffee shop, I was fuming. This was just too much. He actually wanted me to write my own servitude contract. Glancing at the muscles bulging in Jack Thompson's arms, I calmed down a little. I handed him my ID as collateral and signed the agreement I'd drafted myself, feeling utterly humiliated. I became Jack Thompson's personal assistant. My job included, but was not limited to, cooking for him, doing his laundry, cleaning the house, driving, and carrying his bags. In short, wherever he went, I followed. In 2 years, the 420,000 I owed would be written off. I wouldn't get any salary during this time, but if I needed money, I could ask him for living expenses, provided they were for reasonable and necessary uses. I packed my bags, cursing Tom Lee the whole time. I hoped I'd never see that scumbag again. I fell in love and lost 2 years of my freedom. Could anyone be more pathetic than me? After packing all the boxes and moving them to the living room, Jack Thompson arrived. Seeing my piles of boxes, big and small, Jack Thompson frowned. "I have everything you need at my place. You don't need to bring so much stuff." With that, he picked up one of my boxes. He hadn't walked 2 steps before, whoosh, the bottom fell out. I stared, stunned, at the colorful, various fabrics of my intimate were scattered all over the floor. Jack Thompson stood there like an idiot, holding an empty box. He looked down and instantly threw the box away in shock. He reached down with a trembling hand, shaking as he pulled a piece of white lace underwear off his pant leg, then took off running. Was this the cardboard box I bought for 9.9 yuan with free shipping? Seriously, you really can't be cheap. Just like that, I moved into Jack Thompson's apartment. It was a 200 square meter 4-bedroom, and he even had a gym. I touched the high-end equipment in the kitchen, my heart pounding with excitement. Oh my god, I'd been dreaming of this pot for ages but could never bring myself to buy it. Jack Thompson had all he's fancy kitchen gadgets, just gathering dust. I'm a serious food lover. I love eating, but I love cooking even more. You can cook? Yep. Seeing my sparkling eyes, Jack Thompson nodded in satisfaction. You'll be in charge of all 3 meals from now on. I'll give you 10,000 a month for groceries. Lunch and dinner need to be 2 meat dishes, 2 vegetable dishes, and a soup. Capitalists sure know how to live well. After unpacking, as I followed Jack Thompson to the market, I had this strange feeling that we were a married couple. Hey, Boss Goo, buying groceries yourself today? Oh, is this Boss Goo's lady? A perfect match, talented man and beautiful woman. The pork butcher enthusiastically greeted us. You've misunderstood, I'm not. I quickly explained. Heh, Boss Goo's lady is shy. The butcher ignored my frantic hand gestures and stuffed the bag full of meat before handing it to Jack Thompson. Then came the magical moment. Buy pork belly, get ribs free. Buy scallions, get greens free. Buy ginger, get crabs free. With shopping like this, who needs money? We could probably make money just by reselling the extras. Tender and springy stir-fried crab with scallions and ginger, fragrant and soft braised pork, delicious and rich lotus root and sparerib soup, plus 2 refreshing vegetable dishes. Dinner was served. Jack Thompson stood up and served himself a 3rd helping of rice. Starting now, I'll give you 6,000 in spending money every month. If it's not enough, ask me. After dinner, Jack Thompson rubbed his belly and nodded at me with satisfaction. As I cleared the table, I thought, actually, working for Jack Thompson isn't so bad. After all, he's a really generous boss. Pack your bags today. We're going to Hubei tomorrow. You can have the afternoon off, you don't need to follow me. Jack Thompson got up and left. Standing in the empty 200 square meter apartment, I felt aimless for the first time. My old job was always incredibly busy. Working until 10 at night was routine. To save money, I always brought my own meals to work, so when I rushed home after work, I still had to prepare 2 meals for the next day. Occasionally, if I got off early or on weekends, I had to go help at the coffee shop. This felt like the first full, free afternoon I'd had all year. I first met Jack Thompson at the coffee shop. Tom Lee and I were busy with the renovations, when Jack Thompson walked in with a group of people trailing behind him, making an entrance big enough for a New York City gangster movie. Tall build, sharp eyebrows and eyes. Looking closely, Jack Thompson was actually very handsome, but his overwhelming presence often made people overlook his looks. Every time Tom Lee saw Jack Thompson, he'd tremble. Miss, your candied chestnuts are ready. Shaking off my scattered thoughts, I took the chestnuts and happily started eating. The candied chestnut stand on the street was very famous, a popular spot. Their chestnuts were big and fragrant, with thin shells and plenty of meat, soft, sweet, and delicious to eat. You're that shameless woman? I looked up in confusion and saw a group of colorful young girls. Wow, nose rings, lip rings, exaggerated eyeliner, multicolored long hair. The girl who spoke had a yellow bird's nest of hair, crossed her arms, and looked me up and down. Our sisterly wants to see you. Was I cornered by a gang of delinquents? I felt like laughing and crying at the same time. These girls in front of me, were they even 18 on average? Shoved and pushed, I was taken into a small alleyway. In the dim light, a thin girl was standing. Her makeup was too thick, I couldn't see what she looked like. You? Shamelessly trying to hook up with my boss Goo? Who? Stop playing dumb. Jack Thompson. Did you even move into his place? I looked at the girl in front of me, speechless. Thin arms and legs, a body like a bean sprout. Her face was covered in thick makeup, impossible to see her features. Jack Thompson's taste was a bit unexpected. Are you even 18 yet? The girl got angry and puffed out her chest. You hateful old woman. I'm already 19. If I'm not mistaken, Jack Thompson must be around 27 or 28. What do you know? Men are like flowers at 30, women are like tofu dregs at 30. You old tofu drag. Yeah, old tofu drag. Hearing a chorus of old tofu drag, my forehead twitched. Taking a deep breath, I tried to comfort myself. I'm 27, these girls are only 18, 19. Don't stoop to their level. Jack Thompson is my man, stay away from him, got it? The lead girl finished yelling, put her hands on her hips, and nodded at the guy with the yellow hair next to her. Then my hair was grabbed. The bag of chestnuts in my hand was snatched away and thrown at me, hitting me head on. I had only eaten 2 sweet and fragrant chestnuts. Just like that, they were gone. It was time to let these girls know what real trouble looked like. Half an hour later, I pushed open the door and bumped right into Jack Thompson, who was about to leave. Seeing my messy hair, my crooked shirt, and the scratches on my neck, Jack Thompson gripped my shoulder, and it hurt so much I thought my bones would break. Amy Anderson, who hurt you? Looking at Jack Thompson's grim expression, I was filled with anger. Me, a good student with excellent grades for over 10 years, now 3 years out of college, fighting in an alley with a bunch of teenagers because of Jack Thompson. If you have a girlfriend, why didn't you say so sooner? You're almost 30 and you're fighting with a bunch of young girls. Do you know how embarrassing that is? You owe me for my candied chestnuts. Jack Thompson stumbled back as I hit him repeatedly, his handsome face shifting from anger to confusion. Damn it, his chest was too hard, my hands hurt from hitting him. Young girls? You ran into Lisa Lou? I rubbed my wrist and nodded. I heard those kids calling her sisterly. Jack Thompson looked at me for a long time, wanting to say something, then reached out and plucked a chestnut shell from my hair. So, what did she say that got you so mad? Jack Thompson is my man, stay away from him. I mimicked in a high-pitched voice. Jack Thompson's eyes lit up instantly, and a faint smile bloomed at the corner of his mouth. Didn't quite catch that, say it again? Jack Thompson is my man. It hit me. Oh, he was trying to mess with me. Pfft, no, 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 they started it. They just came up and pulled my hair without saying a word. You have a girlfriend but you still let me move into your place. No wonder they came looking for me. You're entirely responsible for this. Jack Thompson reached out and adjusted the collar of my crooked shirt. Amy Anderson, I don't have a girlfriend, Lisa Lou is my comrade's sister. She's a bit unruly, but I'll handle it. My comrade asked me to look after her since she's going to university in this city. To me, a comrade's family is my family. But she's been hanging out with a rough crowd from school. When we get back from this trip, I'll make her apologize to you. Jack Thompson explained seriously, and his touch was very gentle. My anger dissipated quite a bit. You see her as a sister, but I don't think that girl feels the same way. She kept calling you my man. Jack Thompson's hand paused for a moment. He asked with a hint of a smile, if you mind, I'll warn her not to say that anymore. Mind what? Ouch, be gentle. Jack Thompson's touch became soft again. Not done yet? He was just applying medicine, but Jack Thompson was also blowing on my wound. I felt a jolt of electricity from my neck straight to my heart, my whole body felt a little tingly. I'm ticklish. Not yet. That little girl hit pretty hard. Your scratch is a bit deep. Remember not to get it wet for the next couple of days. Jack Thompson rubbed my neck back and forth for so long, I suspected I was a giraffe, otherwise it wouldn't have taken half an hour. When Jack Thompson finally let me go, I went back to my room, looked in the mirror, and let out a cold laugh. Heh, what a deep scratch, it's already starting to heal. Los Angeles County in California is famous for its chestnuts, and that was our destination. I have to say, traveling with Jack Thompson was very comfortable. He really is the most generous boss I've ever met. Everything, food, clothing, housing, travel, was luxurious. If I glanced at anything on the road, he would turn around and buy it. This made me feel like I was the creditor. As the car entered the countryside, there was a slight unexpected delay. The provincial road was filled with police cars, checkpoints every few feet. They were meticulously inspecting every car that passed, opening trunks and luggage. When it was our turn, the police found a multi-tool folding knife in Jack Thompson's bag. It was confiscated, of course. He seemed to have bought it specifically after getting off the plane. Sir, what happened here? The driver, speaking in a not quite standard Mandarin, patiently explained to us, oh dear, it's terrifying. They say there are a few fugitives, big drug kingpins, you know, who've slipped into our area. But don't be scared, we have a lot of mountains here, they're probably hiding in some deep mountain, they won't run into the city. After a long journey, we finally arrived at Sunny Valley. Jack Thompson's comrade had been waiting for us for a long time. Oh, this must be Boss Goo's lady. Seeing me, his eyes lit up, and he shook my hand enthusiastically. It's been years, finally Boss Escu found someone. Looking at the man with thick eyebrows and big eyes, dark skin, I quickly waved my hands and explained, "You've misunderstood, I'm not, let's go. If we delay any longer, it'll be dark by the time we get to your place." I sat in the car and listened to them talk the whole way, mostly listening to the one named David Chen. It turned out David Chen's parents had always made a living selling chestnuts. After David Chen retired from the military, he returned to the village to take care of his parents. To help David Chen, Jack Thompson specifically opened a chestnut store and helped David Chen find sales channels everywhere. Basically, Jack Thompson bought all the chestnuts from David Chen's family. Jack Thompson is really a warm person. He looks fierce, but he's actually very kind. He has the heart of a tiger, yet delicately sniffs roses. The further we drove, the narrower the road became. It truly was a road with endless winding turns. Just as I was starting to feel carsick, we finally arrived. It was a very peaceful small village, with quiet, pleasant scenery. David Chen's parents were extremely enthusiastic when they saw us, killing chickens and ducks for the meal. The hospitable and simple Chen family, the village like a hidden paradise, and the delicious country dishes. Everything was perfect, except for one thing. David Chen's house only had 3 rooms, one for his parents, one for David Chen and his wife. Every time I tried to explain I wasn't Jack Thompson's girlfriend, I was interrupted by various unexpected events. As night fell, I looked at Jack Thompson questioningly. He looked back innocently. No way? Did I really have to share a room with Jack Thompson? How about, you sleep in the living room? That sofa looks pretty good, I stammered, looking at Jack Thompson. Heh, are you sure? He looked at me, his narrow, phoenix-like eyes showing displeasure. I got a d of myself. My mistake, I'll sleep in the living room, you sleep in the room. Knowing when to back down is the most basic skill for any working person. Jack Thompson suddenly leaned in close to me. Amy Anderson, did you forget about the police we saw today? This small village is surrounded by mountains, transportation is inconvenient, but it's a great place to hide. Do you know what happens to a pretty girl like you if she falls into the hands of drug traffickers? Heh, do you think I'm easily scared? I just felt it would be inconvenient for a girl to sleep on the sofa with David Chen's family constantly coming and going. I sat on the bed, holding a pillow, feeling a bit nervous. Jack Thompson came in after his shower. The previously spacious bedroom suddenly felt crowded. Watching Jack Thompson walk towards me step by step, my heart felt like it was going to jump out of my mouth. No way, are we really going to share a bed? Jack Thompson walked to the bed and leaned down, staring at me, his gaze intense and focused. I couldn't help but swallow. Jack Thompson reached out and rubbed my head, giving me a very bright smile. Go to sleep. I'll take you chestnut picking tomorrow. Then he took a set of bedding from the closet and made a bed on the floor. I sighed in relief, but a hint of disappointment also crept into my heart. Huh? Disappointment? Something's wrong with me. This was my first time chestnut picking. Looking at the tall chestnut trees, I was excited. David Chen and Jack Thompson had already each climbed a tree and were using long bamboo poles to beat the branches. With a couple of swishes, a pile of green spiky balls rattled down to the ground. After a lot of effort, I finally climbed onto a thick tree branch. Standing high on the branch, looking out at the rolling mountains in the distance, my mood brightened. Even though I have no money, no car, and no house, I have debt. Well, life needs a little hope, right? I waved the bamboo pole around furiously. Seeing the chestnuts falling all over the ground, I was thrilled. This must be the joy of harvest, it felt really good. Happiness turned to sorrow. Climbing up was easy, climbing down was hard. Going up, I was powered by that burst of excitement. After hitting the chestnuts, I suddenly remembered that I was afraid of heights. David Chen and Jack Thompson had already climbed down and set up folding chairs to rest. Amy Anderson, come down and rest, have some water. I stood on the tree, motionless, like a statue. I think I want to look at the scenery a bit longer. I couldn't possibly say I couldn't get down, could I? How embarrassing. Jack Thompson walked to the foot of the tree and looked up at me. I calmly hugged the tree trunk and gazed into the distance, my legs shaking rhythmically. Jump down, I'll catch you. Jack Thompson looked at me for a moment, pursed his lips, then smiled faintly, and stood there, opening his arms to me. The morning sun shone through the layers of leaves onto Jack Thompson, casting a faint golden light around him, making him look impossibly handsome, like he wasn't real. Jack Thompson just stood there, with his arms open, looking at me gently. A smile played on his lips, his eyes holding a hint of indulgence. Amy Anderson, come down. Legend says there's a type of sea siren in the deep ocean. They are breathtakingly beautiful, and their voices can bewitch people. Jack Thompson, he was like a siren. I was enchanted. Taking a deep breath, I jumped, falling into a warm embrace. I wrapped my arms around Jack Thompson's neck, my heart pounding like crazy. He was so tall and strong, with a broad chest, firm, defined arms. For the first time, I felt so small and delicate. TSK, boss goo, tough guy with a soft spot. David Chen's teasing voice rang out behind me. I scrambled off him, my face bright red. Using two long small wooden sticks, I clipped the fallen chestnuts into the basket on my back. I bent down, quickly reaching out to pick up one chestnut after another, not daring to look at Jack Thompson again. He was different from Tom Lee. Tom Lee was refined, gentle, scholarly, and spoke softly. Jack Thompson was aggressive. He had an incredibly strong masculine presence about him, making you blush and your heart race, leaving you flustered. When we returned to David Chen's house, we found two unfamiliar men sitting in the small yard. The leading man had a clear scar on his face. When he saw me enter the yard, his eyes were oily and lewd, looking me up and down without. It felt like I was being stared at by a cold, venomous snake, making me feel disgusted and uncomfortable. Jack Thompson stepped forward and blocked me behind him. Nan, you're back. These gentlemen are chestnut buyers. They stopped by our house to ask for directions. David Chen's mother warmly greeted Jack Thompson and me while bringing tea to the men. Mountain people are always so hospitable. When I went back to my room, Jack Thompson and David Chen were talking in low voices. Both of them looked unusually serious. I slept soundly for a long afternoon nap in bed. When I woke up, I noticed the sky was already tinged with the colors of sunset. When I got up to find my phone, I couldn't find it anywhere. I thought back and figured I might have dropped it in the mountains while picking chestnuts that morning. Auntie, I left my phone up in the mountains. I'll go get it. After greeting David Chen's mother, who was cooking, I headed towards the mountain. The mountain path in the evening was especially quiet. I grew more and more anxious, feeling like someone was watching me. I looked back, but saw nothing. I quickly sped up and went to the spot where I'd pick chestnuts that morning. I searched around and sure enough, found my phone under a tree. Before I could even feel happy, I heard footsteps behind me. Who's there? I quickly turned around, facing two pairs of ill-intentioned eyes. I put my hands behind my back and shakily dialed Jack Thompson's number. Who are you? TSK. I didn't expect to find such a good catch in this poor mountain village. The one called third brother was clearly the scar-faced man from that afternoon. Jack Thompson. Help. I turned around and ran. I didn't stop to figure out who they were or what they wanted. Running was the only option. If I was mistaken, I could apologize later. If they were bad guys, I would have a chance to survive. They were clearly surprised by my quick reaction, paused for a second, then started chasing me. Once again, thank heavens, thank the earth, and thank my dad for making me do sports since I was a kid. If my judgment wasn't wrong, the two men behind me were the drug traffickers the police were looking for. Holy crap, third brother, this chick can really run. As I ran for my life, I threw my bracelet, necklace, and even my hair tie on the ground. I also yelled a couple of times when I had a spare breath, Jack Thompson. Help. My throat was burning, and my heart felt like it was going to leap out of my mouth. I was panting heavily, running desperately towards the mountaintop. Looking at the cliff ahead, I felt despair. Steep cliffs, rushing river below. The scenery was beautiful, but deadly. I stood at the edge of the mountain, looking at the river below, my legs so weak I could barely stand. Run, why aren't you running anymore? Ouch, you little chick, you ran me ragged. Just then, the two men caught up, standing a short distance away, panting heavily. The one called third brother, with the scar, plopped down onto the ground. Shunzi, take a break. Holy crap. This little chick can seriously run. We were in a stalemate on the mountaintop. I knew once they caught their breath, I was finished. The scar-faced man called third brother stood up. I looked behind me for a second, feeling a bit dizzy. It was really too high. Heh, if you're so brave, jump. Don't worry, us brothers just want to have some fun, we won't kill you. What's more important, your virtue or your life? The one named Shunzi was still squatting and resting, while the scar-faced man called third brother walked towards me step by step. I had never been so scared in my life, feeling both desperate and terrified. As the scar-faced man got closer, I backed away step by step. Any further back, and I'd be over the cliff. Just then, a figure flashed towards us from a distance at incredible speed. So fast I thought I was hallucinating. Ah! I heard a scream. The one named Shunzi had already been kicked unconscious by Jack Thompson. Don't come over. Looking at third brother being forced back by Jack Thompson, a strange feeling welled up in my heart. Admiration, excitement, gratitude, and affection intertwined, making my heart beat fiercely. At this moment, Jack Thompson descended like a god. This scene would be forever etched in my memory. Watching Jack Thompson approach, the scar-faced man rushed towards me and shoved me off the cliff. Amy Anderson. I fell down the cliffside, the scene around me playing out in slow motion. The last thing that came into view was Jack Thompson's figure leaping down decisively. His eyes held fear and panic, but not a trace of hesitation or retreat. Jack Thompson. I screamed and sat up, only to realize I was in the hospital. Jack Thompson was in the bed next to mine, one leg in a cast, suspended from a frame. He lay there with his eyes closed, his face a little pale, his thick eyebrows tightly furrowed. I got out of bed and touched his face, my churning like a stormy sea, the surging love almost drowning me. I had fallen in love with Jack Thompson. Tom Lee and I were university classmates for 4 years, together for 3, knew each other for a total of 7 years. But for a few $100,000, he abandoned me without hesitation. And Jack Thompson, we had only known each other for a few months, met maybe a dozen times at most. Yet, he was willing to risk his life for me. Love has nothing to do with time. Boss Goose lady, you're awake? Seeing David Chin push the door open and come in, I hurried forward. How is Jack Thompson? Nothing serious, he broke his leg, hit something I guess. Boss Goose lady, our Boss Goo is truly devoted to you. When you fell off the mountain, he held you tight. Later, when you were washed ashore, he was still holding you so tightly, several people couldn't pry you apart. Don't look at his face, which seems fine, his body is covered in bruises and scrapes. David Chin said this with a serious face, exaggerating Jack Thompson's injuries. Tears immediately welled up in my eyes. Jack Thompson, please wake up soon, okay? Perhaps haven't heard my plea, as Jack Thompson opened his eyes. Jack Thompson. I plopped down on the side of his bed, grabbed his hand, and started crying. Jack Thompson, you're so silly, why did you jump down too? I swear, if he had said he liked me right then, I would have immediately gone home, grabbed the household registration book, and married him. David Chen was winking at me from the side. Jack Thompson paused, his expression turning solemn and proper. Protecting the people is the duty of every soldier. The words I do were stuck in my throat, about to burst out. I silently swallowed them back. Well, protecting the people. Jack Thompson, truly great and noble. You're Jack Thompson, right? Just then, the doctor came in with a nurse. He checked Hi's leg wound and then said calmly, all right, come back in 4 weeks to get the cast off. You can be discharged today. Discharged? I stared at the doctor, completely confused. Doctor, such a serious injury? He's being discharged just like that? He only has minor superficial injuries on his body, which have been treated. The fracture in his lower leg has been cast. He can indeed be discharged. David Chin peeked at me twice. Boss Goo, I'll go handle the discharge papers. He yelled and then slipped away. I wiped away my tears. So I had cried for nothing just now? Jack Thompson looked at me with a smile in his eyes. Amy Anderson, you were so upset that I was injured, huh? You can still smile? But Jack Thompson, I'm really happy you're okay. David Chin brought a wheelchair and crutches. I helped Jack Thompson into the wheelchair, and we left the hospital. At Jack Thompson's insistence, we bought tickets to go back that day. Indeed, David Chin's home wasn't suitable for recovery, it would be more convenient back home. As soon as we got off the plane, a group of young men was waiting at the arrival gate. Seeing Jack Thompson in the wheelchair, the young men's eyes turned red. Boss Goo, what happened to you? The yellow-haired young man who usually followed Jack Thompson around the most dramatically dropped to his knees with a thump, hugging Jack Thompson's leg and wailing. Looking at the circle of young men around us, I felt a bit embarrassed. Jack Thompson rolled his eyes in annoyance. Shut up. I just broke my leg, stop howling. I couldn't help but glance at Jack Thompson. He was so dominant, I really liked it. We followed the crowd back home in a grand procession. A few of the younger ones almost got into a fight over who would push the wheelchair. When we reached the door of the apartment, we saw a rather delicate-looking young girl standing there. Big eyes, fair skin, she looked very young. As soon as the girl saw Jack Thompson, her eyes turned red. Boss Goo, you just went to pick chestnuts, how did you end up like this? Amy Anderson, how did you take care of my Boss Goo? This was Lisa Lou? Jack Thompson frowned. Mind your manners. Lisa Lou immediately forced out a bright smile at me. Sister Ann ran, I was just too worried about Boss Goo. please don't mind. TSK, this little girl has two faces. Just as I was about to help Jack Thompson inside, Lisa Lou bumped me aside with her hip. Boss Goo, I'm strong, I'll help you. Jack Thompson glanced at her, took the crutches, and stood up himself. No need. Was it that kid yellow hair who told you? Sit down for a bit. I'll change clothes and go buy groceries. I'll make you spare rib soup tonight. I helped Jack Thompson to the sofa and went to my room to change. Just as I took off my clothes, Lisa Lou barged in. I frowned unhappily. Why didn't you knock? At that moment, I was only wearing a bra. Lisa Lou's eyes instantly widened. Your chest. Did you get implants? This little girl, I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. She looked down at her own body, and her arrogant demeanor was halved. Are you going grocery shopping? Get me 2 papayas. When I got home with the groceries, Lisa Lou was circling Jack Thompson like a satellite. Boss Goo, do you want some fruit? What do you want to eat? I'll tell Sister Ann Rand to buy it. Boss Goo, how did you get hurt? You're so strong, how could you get hurt? Boss Goo, why aren't you talking to me? What do you want to watch on TV? I'll turn it on for you. Jack Thompson was annoyed and waved his hand, shooing her away like a fly. Lisa Lou, sit down and be quiet. The little girl was actually quite interesting. She looked so much better without makeup, fresh and bright. Youth is the best makeup. Tomato and beef brisket stew, yam and spare rib soup. Steamed sea bass, stir-fried free-range chicken, shrimp and egg custard, garlic sauce lettuce. Looking at the table full of colorful and appealing dishes, a mix of meat and vegetables, Lisa Lou's eyes went wide. It's definitely going to taste terrible. I smiled and served her a bowl of rice. After one bite of chicken, Lisa Lou was silent for a long time. See, it's terrible. The chicken didn't absorb the flavor at all. It's much worse than my mom's cooking. After saying that, she ate 3 bowls of rice, only one less than Jack Thompson. After eating, she sprawled on the chair, patted her belly, and said dejectedly, I'm defeated. Then she grabbed her backpack and left without looking back. She was truly a woman like the wind. Jack Thompson sat on the sofa calmly watching TV, as if everything that had happened in the past few days was just a dream of mine. You teased me, and now you want to pretend nothing happened? I would not allow it. After taking a shower, I specifically changed into a white shirt, with the buttons low, bare legs, and my damp long hair draped over my shoulders. Even though I liked Jack Thompson, proposing should still be up to the guy. I walked back and forth in front of Jack Thompson, flashing my bare legs. He didn't look away, focused on the TV. I sat next to him, pretending to casually play with my hair, exposing my slender neck and fair collarbone. He stood up, using his crutches, went back to his room, and closed the door. When I heard the bang, I was still holding my hair-playing pose. Oh no, was he injured during the jump that day? My heart sank. The next day at noon, looking at the beef testicle soup, soft-shell turtle soup, and garlic oysters on the table, Jack Thompson's forehead twitched. You were injured and your body is weak. You need to replenish your strength. I enthusiastically served him soup. Jack Thompson's expression was hard to describe. Perhaps because my cooking was truly too good, Jack Thompson graciously had 2 bowls of each soup and ate half a plate of oysters. After a while, seeing his flushed face, I felt a little guilty. Uh-oh, did I overdo it with the supplements? I took a nap and came out to find Jack Thompson nowhere. Just then, I heard sounds from the gym. Jack Thompson was wearing a black tank top, his leg in a cast, doing pull-ups. Watching his broad back muscles, the definition in his arms, his firm, narrow waist, I couldn't help but swallow. I was supposed to be seducing Jack Thompson, but I ended up being seduced by him instead. His physique was absolutely incredible. No, I couldn't lose. Jack Thompson and I entered a mutual torment mode. I put away all my old casual, conservative, and loose clothes and started wearing more revealing outfits at home. Tank tops, low cuts, off-the-shoulder tops, miniskirts. Jack Thompson became more and more distant towards me, looking at me with an unclear, shadowed gaze, spending more and more time in the gym. My sense of frustration grew stronger. It didn't make sense. Did Jack Thompson really not like me? Not moved at all? But at first, I clearly felt like he liked me quite a bit. Today was the day to remove the cast. After accompanying Jack Thompson to the hospital, he holed up in his room, not saying a word. Amy Anderson, get ready. We're going to New York City in a few days. Do you have a New York City and Macau travel permit? Looking at Jack Thompson, who suddenly asked, I was a little taken aback. I went back to my room and rummaged through my bag for a long time. I found that my permit was gone, and my ID card was also missing. I couldn't figure it out. I hadn't been out much recently except for grocery shopping and buying fruit. I didn't know where I'd lost them. Hello, Mom, are you home? I need to come get the household registration book later. I need to get a replacement ID card, I lost mine. You're not a child anymore, how can you be so careless? That last boyfriend, that Tom Lee, I definitely didn't approve. He had shifty eyes, not a good person. My mom started her nagging again. My mom especially disliked Tom Lee. We had dinner together near my company once. My mom said his eyes were shifty, darting around, clearly not having good intentions. Thinking of Tom Lee, I swallowed. If my mom knew I was paying off Tom Lee's debt now, she'd probably break my legs. Amy Anderson, come here for a second. I walked to Jack Thompson's room door and froze. Jack Thompson today was especially handsome, handsome enough to be on the cover of a fashion magazine. He was wearing a black casual suit, his hair was styled, and his beard was cleanly shaved. He looked noble and exceptionally dashing. Just looking at him like that, I was already feeling dizzy with attraction, my heart racing. You're all dressed up today. Yeah, I have a blind date today. What? A blind date? I was so shocked my voice cracked. Jack Thompson tugged at his collar and said helplessly, my grandma arranged it. She says I'm almost 30 and should get married. I looked at Jack Thompson, feeling like I'd knocked over a jar of aged vinegar in my heart, sour and bitter. A blind date, that's nice. What does she do? Heard her parents both work at the bank, and the girl is a high school teacher. Dual income parents, a teacher, the ideal profile for a daughter-in-law in parents' eyes. I felt even more sour. Is she pretty? Jack Thompson handed me his phone. The girl in the picture had clear eyes and delicate features, looked dignified and poised, with a gentle temperament. She was clearly the type that elders would love. A warning siren immediately blared in my head. I should have realized sooner. An unmarried man like Jack Thompson, handsome, with a great body, charismatic, and rich, was a true diamond bachelor in the marriage market. There were plenty of young girls with good family backgrounds and looks fighting over him. If I kept playing hard to get, Jack Thompson would be snatched away. Jack Thompson went on his blind date. I couldn't stay at home either. After getting a replacement ID at the police station, I wandered around the streets. As I walked, I ended up near the coffee shop Tom Lee used to own. A shifty figure stood on the corner, looking a little familiar. Holy crap! Tom Lee. I crept forward carefully and then slapped him on the back of the head. You little punk, you actually dare to come back. Tom Lee was scared out of his wits. When he saw it was me, he calmed down a bit. And ran, you scared me to death. What did you say? Jack Thompson told you to run? Tom Lee nodded, looking at me with a pitiful expression. It was that yellow-haired kid next to Jack Thompson. He told me, he said since the store wasn't in my name anyway, the debt wasn't mine. And he also said that Jack Thompson never makes things difficult for women, but he's really rough on men. I thought about it. Anyway, he wouldn't do anything to you, but I wasn't sure about myself. Yellow Hair said according to the rules, if I couldn't pay, they'd break my hands and feet. And ran, I really didn't mean to run. I just wanted to save myself. And ran, my family has been single-line descendants for 3 generations. Tom Lee grabbed my sleeve, looking pathetic and sleazy. I shook him off in disgust. He made it sound so good, but he was just afraid of getting hurt himself. Truly selfish and cowardly, a useless man. Don't give me that. You owe me the money. A full 420,000. How can you stand there and expect me to take responsibility for it? Tom Lee looked even more wronged. How can all this money be on me? When I wanted to open the coffee shop, you said you'd supper. Me completely. At most, I'm only responsible for half of it. I was so angry I almost laughed. How did I never realize Tom Lee was so shameless before? Indeed, adversity reveals true character. Jack Thompson. Tom Lee pointed behind me and shrieked in terror. I turned my head to look, saw nothing, turned back, and Tom Lee was gone. I returned home feeling restless, only to find Jack Thompson hadn't returned yet. What kind of blind date was this, taking so long? It got late, deep into the night, and there was still no sign of Jack Thompson. I tossed and turned in bed, unable to sleep. My mind was full of what Tom Lee had said earlier. What did he mean? Was Jack Thompson deliberately approaching me? Did he already like me? But then why did he go on a blind date? And why wasn't he back so late? Could he and the blind date girl? No, Jack Thompson didn't seem like such an open person, and after all, it was a blind date, things wouldn't progress that fast. I closed my eyes, my thoughts swirling in my mind. Jack Thompson made me sign a servitude agreement. Jack Thompson went grocery shopping with me. Jack Thompson put medicine on my scratches. Jack Thompson held me under the chestnut tree. Jack Thompson jumped off the cliff for me. Jack Thompson was truly infuriating. The next day, I woke up with 2 dark circles under my eyes. It was almost 11 a.m. I opened the door and found Jack Thompson had already bought groceries and was sitting on the sofa watching TV as if nothing had happened. Last night? How was the blind date? The girl didn't come. She said something happened at her school and she couldn't get away. One of the students had an accident. So we rescheduled for next week. Oh, what a shame. My mood instantly brightened. The sky was so blue, the air was so fresh, and Jack Thompson in front of me looked so pleasant. Can you cook Sichuan food? Yes. I nodded happily and scurried into the kitchen to get busy. Boiled beef in chili oil, Chongqing chicken with chilies, spicy blood curd, plus 2 vegetable dishes. Jack Thompson pulled out a case of beer. Want a drink? Drinking beer at noon? But beer was Sichuan food, one word, amazing. The beef was tender, the chicken crispy, fragrant, and numbing. As I ate the spicy dishes, hissing from the heat, I unknowingly drank 2 glasses of beer. Looking at the doubled image of Jack Thompson, I shook my head. My alcohol tolerance doesn't seem this bad. Jack Thompson, what kind of beer is this? German dark beer. You're intoxicating. No, the beer is intoxicating. Jack Thompson smiled faintly, truly like blooming flowers, captivating. This must be getting drunk not on wine, but on the person. I felt even dizzier. Alcohol gives the timid courage. I dragged my chair closer to Jack Thompson and stared at him. Jack Thompson, please don't go on that blind date, okay? Oh? Why not? Because I'll be unhappy. I'm jealous. I looked into his eyes and said, word by word. But I'm not getting any younger, I'm in a hurry to find a wife. Jack Thompson looked at me too, his eyes full of temptation. I grabbed his shirt collar and pulled him towards me. How about I be your wife? Jack Thompson stared at me for a moment, then pushed my hand away, his handsome face full of disdain. Amy Anderson, I don't have time to play relationship games with you. To be my wife, you have to get a marriage certificate. Do you dare? His expression and actions instantly angered me. I stood up with a swish, put my hands on my hips. Anyone who chickens out is a coward. With that, I rushed into my room, rummaged through my bag, and slammed my ID and household registration book onto the table. I had just gotten a replacement ID yesterday, and hadn't had a chance to return the household registration book to Why mom yet? Jack Thompson laughed, narrowed his eyes, his expression triumphant, looking exactly like a sly fox. Amy Anderson, don't regret this. I don't remember much of what happened next. I was in a semi-dazed state the whole time. I only remember Jack Thompson driving incredibly fast. We reached City Hall very quickly. There was a long line at the marriage registration office, but as soon as we arrived, someone came over to greet us. Then, without even waiting in line, we quickly signed, got our certificates, and took photos. The entire process probably took less than an hour. I never knew getting married could be so simple. By the time Jack Thompson carefully locked the marriage certificate in the safe, my buzz was slowly fading. I swallowed. Oh no, I think I just did something monumental. My mom might break my legs if she finds out. Jack Thompson locked the certificate, breathing a sigh of relief. Amy Anderson, sober now? Jack Thompson, call me husband. Looking at Jack Thompson's teasing expression, my face turned bright red. I suddenly remembered I have something to do at home. I should get going. Before I could finish, Jack Thompson pulled me into his arms, followed by an overwhelming kiss. Jack Thompson picked me up and kicked the door shut. 3,000 words of indescribable actions. When I woke up, sore all over, it was already completely dark. My stomach was rumbling. I gently removed the arm around my waist and reached for the phone on the nightstand. Under the pillow, I found a hard card. Shining the phone light on it, I saw it was my ID card. Why was my ID card under Jack Thompson's pillow? I quietly got out of bed and found my bag in the living room. Looking at the 2 identical ID cards in my hand, I let out a cold laugh. Well, Jack Thompson, you're something else. This is what you call a step-by-step, interconnected scheme. What a tactic. What a brain. It's a shame he didn't become a secret agent. Just then, a pair of arms wrapped around my waist. Jack Thompson hugged me from behind and kissed my cheek. Wife, what are you looking at? Are you hungry? I slapped his hand away. You need to explain this to me. What is this? Jack Thompson took the ID card calmly. I found it, I gave a cold laugh. Where did you find it? In your bag. Before I could finish speaking, he covered my mouth with his. What else could I do? The certificate was signed, we were on the same boat now. Guess I had to meet the parents. Just as I was packing my things, the doorbell rang. I opened the door and froze. Standing outside was a very beautiful girl, fair-skinned and tall. She was wearing a white shirt, looking gentle and graceful. Wasn't this Jack Thompson's blind date? She actually came to the house. The girl outside was also startled when she saw me. After recovering, she looked me over with interest, her eyes constantly scanning my neck and collarbone area. I awkwardly pulled up my collar, trying to hide the red marks on my skin. You must be Amy Anderson? Nice to meet you. I'm Jack Thompson's cousin, my name is Emily Thompson. She held out her hand generously, a smile on her face. Cousin? Cousin. The longest road I ever walked was Jack Thompson's planned route. Sis, you're here. Jack Thompson, ignoring my murderous glare, greeted his sister. Only then did I learn that Jack Thompson's parents had died in a car accident when he was very young. His uncle's family raised him from a young age. His uncle and aunt treated him like their own child. Calling her a cousin was technically correct, but they were like siblings. Nan said he was pursuing a girl, and once he caught her, he'd bring her home for us to see. Looks like you caught her? So when are you bringing her home? Emily though. Empson smiled sweetly, holding my hand and kindly telling me about Gu family matters. I felt ashamed realizing that I had impulsively married Jack Thompson, but I knew nothing about his family situation. Sis, we're already married, Jack Thompson said to his sister, raising an eyebrow triumphantly. His sister froze, looking at Jack Thompson in disbelief. The next second, she stood up, grabbed the slipper by her feet, and started hitting Jack Thompson with it furiously. What happened to the dignified, gentle lady? I watched, stunned. You little brat. No betrothal gifts, no formal proposal, didn't meet the parents. Tricking a girl into marrying you. How can you do this to her parents? That's so irresponsible. Jack Thompson dodged clumsily. Getting married isn't irresponsible. Ow, sis, stop hitting me, you'll hurt your hand. Boss Goo, it's all ready. Seeing yellow hair jump out of the minivan, I was a little dumbfounded. Do you need to bring this many things for a first visit to the in-laws? A whole carload? Jack Thompson nervously adjusted his collar, took my hand, and ran. Let's go. Time to meet your parents. My dad had been notified in advance and was already waiting downstairs. We lived in an old apartment complex, and the neighbors had lived there for decades. Seeing me bring my boyfriend home, they were all standing around watching the spectacle. Amron's boyfriend is really handsome, so tall. Look at that car too, a Mercedes, must be expensive. Just as my dad was about to go forward and greet them, he saw yellow hair and another young guy, moving things from the car into our apartment like they were moving house. Cigarettes, alcohol, fruits, bird's nest, all sorts of tonics and health supplements, everything imaginable. Upstairs, my mom stood in the doorway like an idiot, watching yellow hair and his friend go in and out, up and down. Jack Thompson already had an imposing presence, and he seemed a little nervous, his face stern, making him look even more intimidating, powerful without even trying. My dad picked up a glass of wine. Uncle, I'd like to propose a toast, my mom kicked him. Haha, Xiao Gu, right? Uncle will propose a toast to you. Welcome to our home for the first time. Jack Thompson drained the glass in one gulp, making my dad even more nervous. It was unbearable to watch. In crucial moments, you still had to rely on my mom. Ahem, my mom cleared her throat. Xiao Gu, do you own a home? Auntie, which city are you asking about? My mom was speechless. In this round, Jack Thompson won completely. Initially, my parents were planning to give Jack Thompson a hard time after finding out I had secretly gotten married. But by the time Jack Thompson left, they were seeing him off with such warmth and eagerness, it was incredible. The next day, my mom video called me and praised Jack Thompson to the heavens. The news had already spread throughout the neighborhood. They said I had found a handsome, rich second-generation guy, tall, handsome, and wealthy. For his first visit to his in-laws, he brought a carload of mithai. My mom had been listening to compliments all day in the neighborhood, her mouth practically stretched to the back of her head. Daughter, you really have good taste. You should quickly snatch up a quality man like this. This marriage certificate, you got it right, you got it right. I glanced at Jack Thompson, who was washing dishes in the kitchen. This marriage certificate, indeed, I got it right.